What's up, YouTube? Today I have some good news. There's finally a country in Europe where people are out in the streets protesting illegal immigration. That country is Ireland. You may have seen this on social media. For the past couple weeks, large crowds of people have been protesting against illegal immigration all over the country. Now, many thousands of people showed up in Dublin, Ireland, at the headquarters of the Irish Times. This is probably the most internationally well-known Irish media outlet. They held a giant protest against the Irish Times. It's located in downtown Dublin along the River Liffey, I think it's called. People began massing. It became many thousands. And then they started marching around a large city block along the river. This is exactly the kind of protest that I think people need to do and that I support. Challenging the so-called mainstream media is so important. And of course, the Irish Times has been pumping out daily articles about these protests. And they just quote a bunch of people saying that the protesters are far right, extremists, racist, over and over. And there's absolutely not even any attempt to be balanced. I looked at a bunch of their articles. They don't interview a single protester. It's just wildly one-sided. Now, I can't really point to any one incident that triggered these protests. Ireland has had lots of incidents of cultural enrichment over the years. The only thing that's really happened is Ireland started taking in actual war refugees from Ukraine. And these have been women and children. Then at the same time, the illegal aliens have been allowed to come in just ever increasing numbers. And people are noticing something. One group, women and children from an actual war zone. The other group, 19-year-old dudes in tracksuits from countries not at war, who paid many thousands of dollars to come to Ireland and enter the country illegally. And yet these two groups that seem so different are both called refugees by the media and most government officials. In fact, the Irish authorities have to move the Ukrainian women and children out of a facility before they bring in more 19-year-old economic migrants. Otherwise, the women will be sexually harassed and threatened. Of course, the English are apparently taking a different strategy. They're telling the female war refugees from Ukraine to take cultural sensitivity training so they can better understand the culture of the people who are sexually harassing them. As I have been saying for years on YouTube, the people coming into Europe and America illegally are not refugees, they're economic migrants. And they are disproportionately young males. They are just seeking a better lifestyle. And finally, other people are starting to recognize this. People in Ireland are recognizing this. A few nights ago, Fox News host Greg Gutfeld went on a big tirade about this. And for years, I've joked about how all these economic migrants are arriving in Europe in their Adidas tracksuits. Well, he joked that the Mexican coyotes must be dropping off the economic migrants directly in front of a Nike store. Now, the Irish political party that has historically supported open borders and non-European immigration into Ireland is Sinn Féin. Now, a lot of Americans watching this might be surprised to hear me say that. They might not even believe it. Well, Sinn Féin did very well in the 2020 election. They came in first place. They used to only come in third or fourth place. Now, they actually are not part of the ruling coalition. The ruling coalition is Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, which are supposed to be center-right parties, in a coalition with the Green Party. But essentially, these center-right parties have become like the German Christian Democrats or the British Tory party, in that they are now basically center-left. Fianna Fáil in the EU used to be in an alliance with some of the most conservative parties in Europe, including the Italian Lega Party and the Italian National Alliance, which is now essentially the Brothers of Italy Party. That was just like 12, 13 years ago. But from what I can tell, Fianna Fáil has been, they've basically gone the way of Angela Merkel, way to the left. So Sinn Féin is the main open borders party. They're not even in power, even though they came in first place, but the so-called center-right parties are just going along with this. Now, historically, Sinn Féin used to get a huge percentage, maybe even half of all their funding from America. There's been changes in laws, so I don't know if this is still true. If you know about this, post a comment below. Back when I was in college, I used to see Sinn Féin people raising money in the United States, and they would go to private Irish clubs, Irish festivals, and they would sell, Ireland t-shirts, and they would present Sinn Féin as a patriotic Irish party. And then the exact same guys would go to Antifa events. I witnessed this myself firsthand, and they would sell merchandise that said Irish Republican Army to the Antifa. There was also a big protest in northeastern Germany, in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, in the district of Nordwest Mecklenburg. There's a tiny village called Uphal. It's got like 1,600 people. The district is building a shipping container village for illegal aliens. It's going to house 400 of these people. Most will undoubtedly be young males who spent thousands of dollars to get to Germany and are just seeking a better lifestyle and welfare and that kind of stuff. Well, there's 4 parties on the district council. The Conservative Party, Alternative für Deutschland, AfD, the Christian Democrats, the CDU, the Social Democrats, SPD, and the ex-East German Communist Party, which has been rebranded as Die Linke, the left. And of the 4 parties, the only party that opposed this was the AfD. And then the AfD even proposed that instead of 400 people, they only dump 250 people on this tiny village. All 3 of the other parties, all their members voted against it. And several hundred people protested in front of the district council building. And the media was even more hostile than the Irish Times. I was looking for video of the protest, and what I can tell, it was hundreds of people. It was completely peaceful. There was no violence. No one smashed any windows. No one graffitied the building. No one did anything. And I find this 6.5 minute long report from a German media outlet. And I think, oh, this is going to have lots of video of the protest. In the 6.5 minutes, there's almost no clips whatsoever of the actual protest. And there's this woman droning on and on about how the protesters were right-wing extremists, Reichsbürger, neo-Nazis, hooligans, skinheads, and just on it, like any pejorative she could possibly think of, just on and on. And they don't even show the protesters because the protesters look like hundreds of normies. Had this been an Antifa protest, the building would have been smashed up. It would all been graffitied. All the windows would be broken. They would have been throwing rocks and Molotov cocktails at the police. None of that happened. So what does she have to complain about? She keeps saying, zu laut, over and over. They were too loud. They had the audacity to blow whistles and raise their voices. All right, keep an eye on this channel because I'm going to be posting guest commentary from Peter in the Czech Republic very shortly. YouTube suppresses the distribution of my videos now, so you'll have to watch the channel, otherwise you're not going to see it. But thanks for watching this video. Click the like button, post a comment below, tell me what you think about all this, and thanks to the people who are supporting me on Subscribestar. Thank you to the person who made a donation on Cash App. And click the subscribe button. New video every few days. But there's actually going to be one very shortly.
We have a reporter for the Irish Times here who's been calling everybody racist and far right. Have you got anything to say to the people of East Wall and the people of these communities where you have been pushing propaganda saying that women and children are far right? Do you have anything to say to these people?
I've covered East Wall. You can watch the videos if you want.
But your paper, where we're going now, has called these people racist and far right. Have you anything to say for yourself and your company that you work for? Sorry?
There's a press ombudsman. You can make
Watch.
You can make a complaint to the press ombudsman.
Go to the press ombudsman, but you've gone on to say yourself.
There's a complaint procedure you can make it to the press ombudsman.
Yeah, we will be doing that there.
Okay, well, that's
and the fact that you can't bring yourself just to say sorry to these women and children says a lot about your publication.
According to that man told me there, this fella said to me the other day that people on working class, right, are people that are on over 100,000 a year. This man said, oh yes you did. And he also said, anybody that's a cleaner or a security guard, anyone that's a, he also said, anyone that's a